Hey, man, what are you doing over there? What's going on?
I'm over here, man, just checking out our odds, man.
Oh.
Seeing what Vegas has us at, man. We're actually tied.
We're tied in the
We're
odds.
tied, man.
How much do we have to put down to make some money?
If we put down 500, we would walk away with a 22,000, man.
Oh.
22,000 large.
Are you a gambling man?
No, I'm not, man. What's up, man?
Welcome to the Better Blue Podcast, man. That's what happens before the recording.
Trying to make a living. Trying to make a living by any means, man.
Yeah. Duke and Carolina are on our mind at all times. Other side of the couch over here is J-Mac.
J-Mac.
James Michael McAdoo. This is Ryan Kelly, as always, here in Japan, recording the Better Blue Podcast. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, always available on Spotify, Apple Pod.
TikTok.
Oh, yeah, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
Yep.
We got it all. So appreciate the love, the support, as always. What are we doing today?
We're going to be talking a little bit about the NBA trade deadline / there is a January 10th guarantee that a lot of guys in the NBA who were in our position, fringe guys, on the cusp, non-guaranteed, partial guaranteed contracts. There's a guaranteed trigger date where basically your money becomes guaranteed. We're going to talk about that because this is that time of year that we're coming into. And we're also going to just kind of talk about, how Carolina, how the Blue Devils are faring as of late. We're still, January is still young.
Yes, it is.
And, man, text your kids, tell them keep it down over there, man.
I hope they're not catching up on the mic because,
no, they're not.
It's good. They're all out there in our yard shooting some hoops. There's a hoop out back. So that's what they're doing, pretending to be Duke, I'm sure. Hopefully they're making some shots better than my Blue Devils have been.
Man, NC State got y'all, man.
Oh.
That was tough. And we had just previously spoken about
how last week
we did not want to include. They got y'all. Which means now Karma's probably gonna let them get us too.
That might have been bulletin board material
for sure.
I'd like to think that many people are listening to the pod at this point that made it to.
They were down there.
Kevin Keith's bulletin board that we said NC State is not a rivalry to either Duke or Carolina. But yeah, let's talk about this NBA stuff a little bit. As of when this pod comes out, it'll have just been past the January 10th deadline. For those who don't know, for guys in the league that have non-guaranteed deals, January 10th is when it becomes fully guaranteed. So I think you mentioned to me this past week, who was it that just had gotten waived?
Noah Vonleh.
Yeah.
I said that because he played in Asia last year. He was in China and did really well. Came back. Pretty sure he played for the Celtics in Summer League.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or maybe another team, but basically went to training camp with Boston. And I still follow quite a bit of the NBA. And it's cool to see a guy, that played, not in Japan, but in Asia, try to go back and give it another shot at the league. And, he was a lottery pick. I want to say he might have been even top 10 coming out of Indiana. I think he did 1 year there for the Hoosiers. And was drafted by, I'm pretty sure it was Portland, and he was in the league for quite a while.
Yeah,
5-6 years easily.
Had a good career. Yeah.
But recently got traded and waived, in one day.
Right before that deadline. So obviously he had a non-guaranteed deal, and I think the Celtics traded him to the Spurs. For no real compensation. Celtics clearing a roster spot. Yeah. Spurs have a lot of
waived Gorgie Dang.
Yeah, that's right. That's another guy.
Noah Vonleh waived him, but then I just recently saw they signed Gorgie Dang back.
Oh, I did see that too.
Or something. So
we figured we'd talk a little bit about that January 10th experience from our own experience, and then also just kind of how that goes into the trade deadline and what it's like to be an NBA player in those positions. So, I had a couple of experiences that were nail biters with the January 10th guarantee date. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll go first.
Let's hear it.
So my rookie year with the Lakers, despite being their draft pick, I was the 48th pick, so second round pick. But I was the only draft pick.
Yeah.
But as I've talked about previously, my senior year I had broken my foot, had to have surgery after the season.
Yeah.
Didn't really do any pre-draft stuff. Was recovering throughout the summer. So while the Lakers liked me, they also were like, "Oh, we're not guaranteeing everything in your contract when we don't know if you're going to be fully healed, second foot break in 2 years," which is understandable from a business perspective. So I ended up making the team, signing a 1-year deal, making the team through training camp. And then that January 10th deadline came around, and I'm like, this is a big deal here for me. The rest of the roster was pretty set other than the potential for trades. Yeah. But I was like, I got to make it past this specific date to make sure
camp, did you feel like you were fighting for a spot?
I definitely felt like I was fighting for a spot.
Okay.
And maybe it was a mentality thing, but I came to training camp not when I had gotten there in the early fall. They had not fully cleared me for activity, so I was worried that the doctor wasn't going to clear my foot. It wasn't fully healed. Then they just go,
just send him home.
Just send him home,
or keep someone.
Exactly.
Home and keep somebody healthy.
Yeah. So basically, at the end of the day, one of the doctors that the Lakers were using were saying you need to have another surgery at that time, and I said no, I'm good. I sent it to a ton of doctors. They said you're good, which is insanity to think that I could have had another surgery, and a bunch of other doctors said no, you can go practice tomorrow. But that's what happened. Anyway, so make the team. This January 10th deadline again. Remember, I had just started. This is a couple pods ago, Christmas time, but that was around the time that I had just started playing. So I've been in the D League, now G League. And so I'm like, I don't know. I've played for 10 days. I've been in the rotation for 10 days. Anything could happen. Maybe they didn't like what they saw in those 10 days. So anyway, in my head, I have these dates up here. Tuesday, January 6th, we were taking off for a road trip. So January 6th, 2014. And we were hitting Texas, basically. We were going to Dallas Mavericks on the 7th, Houston Rockets on the 8th, and then coming back to L.A., but hitting at the Clippers on the 10th. Okay. And I was very naive, but in my head, nobody told me this. My agent didn't tell me, but I was like, if I get on this flight, they're not going to cut me. Yeah, I'm safe. Yeah. Thankfully, that time I was safe. They did not waive me, and ended up on the roster for the whole year and fully guaranteed, and then inevitably signed a 2-year deal to be back with the Lakers. Okay. But where that story goes is my 4th year in the league when I was with the Atlanta Hawks. And sorry, this is a long story, but it's our time. It's our time,
pod, bro.
It's our pod. So I was kind of in a similar position where I actually was a completely unguaranteed deal, was waived at training camp, signed a few days later to a 1+1 deal that was non-guaranteed, was not in the rotation at all, but had been told they liked me and thought actually for the following year is when they wanted me to kind of be more in the rotation. But anyway, January 10th.
Which is professional sports
of
itself.
Exactly.
We're just going to sit you around.
We like you, but we'll just
we might use you next year. We'll let you know.
And actually, I appreciated it in some sense because it was not fun to not play. But at the same time, I was like, Coach Budenholzer likes me a lot. Yeah. He, we had Paul Millsap. We just had multiple guys at the position. And he was like, look, we're not going to need you this year, but I like you a lot. Yeah. Anyway, January 10th starts rolling around. Again, my guarantee date on my contract. Similarly, I'll pull the dates up for you again.
Are you pulling up your old NBA contracts?
No, I'm pulling up the schedule. Because I looked up this schedule. By the way, that's funny you said that.
Like, kudos to you for having your. I don't know where those things. No, I have all my overseas because they always email them to you.
Yes, I have all those too.
I couldn't tell you where my NBA ones are.
Actually, a funny story in the midst of this is as I was doing my little bit of research for looking back at the dates, and my son Niall was sitting next to me, and I'm going through my transaction history when I was in the NBA, and one of the dates says Ryan Kelly waived, and my son he's like. Ryan Kelly waived. What does that mean? And I was like, that means I was fired, son.
You never had the experience.
That means I was fired. Yeah. So anyway, Atlanta Hawks, we go on a longer road trip that leaves January 3rd and gets back the 11th. So past that date, January 10th deadline again, hitting Orlando, New Orleans, Dallas, Brooklyn, all on this road trip. Same exact thing. In my head, I'm like, oh, same thing with the Lakers.
Yeah.
I get on this plane. I'm good. Unbeknownst to me, Atlanta Hawks in a little bit of a shifting. They started making trades. There were a lot of guys' names being thrown out there. And the Hawks had a deal to trade Kyle Korver in a 2-for-1 deal to Cleveland. I don't remember that trade for Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Mo Williams. Okay. And to facilitate that trade, a roster spot had to be opened up. Yeah. So I was waived while on that road trip.
Caught a stray.
Yeah. So to give some insight into that experience, I got a call because we were in the hotel. We were on the road, I believe in Orlando. Got a call, said, "You're waived."
From your agent?
I think from the GM and my agent, actually. They did like a conference call, which was nice of them. Yeah. And they were very kind and said, we actually still really like you, and we want to tell you that we are going to find a way to get you back on the roster before the end of the season. This is not goodbye, but also goodbye. Pack your stuff. You're out of here. And it's bizarre because you don't even say goodbye to people. I mean, I packed my bag for the road trip, walked downstairs. They had a car ready for me as I'm walking out. Yeah, black car.
Uber black out front, baby.
The windows are tinted for the shame. And Kent Bazemore happened to be down the lobby, and he sees me rolling out with all my bags. He's like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh, they just waived me."
Dang, man.
And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, that's it." And he was like, "All right, good luck." Yeah. And Kent's awesome dude, super nice guy. But he's like, "What? Yep. There's nothing you can say other than good luck." Business. And thankfully, I ended up. That's not the moral of the story, but I ended up getting re-signed by them later in the year. I did like 3 weeks in the G League, D League, and then they did end up trading Mike Scott for basically like cash considerations or something to clear up a roster spot and sign me back for the rest of the year. But man, January 10th, I saw both sides of that coin.
Yeah. Was that depressing, bro? Like you're basically, it reminds me of like, people always ask me like, what was it like to not get drafted? I'm just like, imagine your entire life. You've told everyone, this is the job I'm going for. I want to fly airplane. I want to be an astronaut. I want to, write a book, whatever. Yep. And, you go work your entire life up to that moment, and then you say, all right, I'm putting all my chips on the table for it right now. And for me, I left school early. And then for it to basically just be broadcast on national TV, which was draft night, which it isn't the end all be all, for your dreams and aspirations, but, your life, your job, your, position of where you are is broadcast for everybody to see, It
was funny too because I hadn't been playing that much. It wasn't like I was in the rotation very much, but I was like the afterthought of the whole thing because that was a pretty big trade. Like Cleveland getting Kyle Korver at the time was a big deal. Yeah. And that was inevitably the start of Atlanta kind of starting over. They had that group of Al Horford, Paul Millsap, Kyle Korver, Jeff Teague, where that was kind of the beginning of the end of that. And so that was the headline. And then it would be like, Ryan Kelly waived. At the end,
which happens a lot.
Yeah,
it happens a lot.
And to put it even more into perspective, as I'm thinking about this even more, I also had my wife had just given birth at the end of December to my second child.
Oh wow,
Tess, and so that was about 8 or 9 days after Tess had been born.
And no matter what, that was home for you. I'm assuming Atlanta was where you guys were calling home.
Actually, no.
Oh, was family not there?
Family was in Raleigh in North
didn't.
Carolina. They did not come because it was so. She was getting close to having the
I didn't know
baby. I hadn't been on the team at training camp.
Yeah.
So they stayed home.
Were we just in a hotel?
Yep, I was in a hotel.
Yeah.
And wow.
Thanks. So did you stay in a hotel up until that point? Which is not unheard of.
Yes.
If people didn't know that. Yeah, it's nothing for guys just to stay in a hotel.
I stayed in a hotel from beginning of September when I was technically re-signed through December.
Man.
Or October, November. Yeah, I just stayed in a hotel the whole time.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
People probably don't even know that, but it's totally normal just for guys to
just be in a hotel the whole time.
These are big cities, and nobody's trying to, it's a lot to get. If you're not making serious money, it's a lot to, for ourselves when we were on the minimum, if I'm going to lay down roots and get sign a lease, I got to know I'm going to be here for a while.
Yeah. And I did not know that at any point. So ultimately, when I re-signed in Atlanta, we did get a place, and Lindsay and the kids moved to Atlanta for the rest of the year. But at that point, I had flown home on the day of the 28th was when my daughter was born, and I flew home that morning and was there for the birth, and then flew back like 29th or 30th. Yeah. So I guess if we're looking for blessings in the storm, it's that I got to go home for a little bit. Unfortunately, then ended up, though a beautiful city in Maine, playing for the Red Claws.
Slops the road, man.
In the snow.
In the snow.
I wasn't going outside much there.
But my situation was a little different. So I never, my fourth year I was on a two-way, and I signed that two-way with the 76ers, and they told my agent, they basically let me know, like, hey, we're going to make sure we use up your full allotment of, I think at the time it was 60 days that you could be up with the NBA team as opposed to down with the G League team and be making like prorated minimum. And once that time was up, I knew, once they had run my 60 days up, I was like, all right, the decision is going to be made here. They're not just going to keep me and have me in the G League. Yep. So they ended up waiving me, which I knew, like I said, was going to happen. But it was actually kind of tough because they had sent me at this time. It was right around the same, January deadline. And this is, a time when, like we talked about previously, a lot of moves are made because the trade deadline is when no more real NBA trades can be made. Is like, I want to say it's usually around the middle of February.
Yeah. I think it's been shifted a little bit because it was pre-All-Star. I think now it was post, whatever it is. But it's in February.
But that's when teams, really start to, make a lot of switches and make a lot of transactions. But I ended up getting all my days run up with the 76ers. And in order to, kind of just for them, they wanted to wait like a few more days. So long story short, I ended up having to go play up in Canada, which is where they were having the G League showcase at the time, knowing that I was going to get waived. That was one of the toughest times as a professional. Yeah, I had to leave my family because my daughter had just been born. My firstborn had been born on the 31st of 2017. So here we are in 2018.
So similarly,
I got to be home. Yep. Thankfully, the 76ers were amazing, great professional in all that regards. And I just had to be a professional, vice versa. I had to go and do my job. And Elton Brand came into my little rundown hotel room there up in, I think it was, I'm going to botch this, but Mississauga. Mississauga. It's like a suburb of Toronto, or right outside Toronto. And he let me know, which was cool. That was his first year as a GM. Yeah. So that was really cool, like to have him as the GM of the G League team, the 87ers. And we all know he's the G League. I mean, he's the GM, or he was the GM for a few years there. And now they got a buddy from the Rockets.
Morey.
Morey. Daryl Morey that he's working with. But, honestly, having gotten waived, having gotten undrafted, and then going to training camp and getting, waived. After that, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's a business. Yep. Everything after that was just, like, easy for me. So, when I approached the trade deadline, which was kind of like the guarantee deadline for you, for me, I kind of knew. But I would say the only time where I was probably taken aback was I want to say it was my third year. So this was my third year. So I signed up, I get called up my rookie year. I signed, a 2-year deal, but really a 1.5-year deal.
Yep.
So the following year, my second year in the league, I make the team. I kind of knew I was going to make the team, because they signed me. And then that summer I signed a 1-year deal. And that was the year that KD was there playing for the Warriors.
Yep.
And halfway through the year, I don't know if people remember, it's crazy. He actually got his knee rolled up on MCL. I think Zaza Pachulia, our teammate, fell into him at the time.
Which he currently is
nursing now.
Nursing the MCL.
So the team, right around trade deadline, they got to make a move. They got to bring in, somebody that can try to fill the, nobody will fill the role. So I didn't know this at the time, but we're on a road trip. One of my boys hits me up. He's like, yo, Harrison Barnes at the time. He hits me up. He was like, yo, everything cool, blase, blase. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, I'm just seeing your name floating around, So I didn't know, but there was a website called Hoops Hype. This is how naive I was. I didn't really know. And Hoops Hype, for y'all that don't know, it's just a website that basically it's like a Twitter feed of just all NBA rumors, transactions, and news.
Yep.
Anything and everything is up there.
Worth a follow if you're an NBA.
Yeah, it's definitely
fan.
Fan or player.
Yeah.
So I get on Hoops Hype immediately. We're on a road trip, and I'm just like, it's just like I open Pandora's box. So I'm like, I go from like life is good, I'm in the league, to I'm about to lose my job, all because this man got hurt. I had nothing to do with that. So, I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure I called my agent. I'm sure he had to talk me off the cliff. And I ended up going down to work out, because we're on the road. I go down to the hotel. I'm working out with one of the strength guys. I'm in there just, you know me, bro. I'm eating the weights. Ryan knows me, man. I go in there. I'm lifting. And Coach Kerr, he liked to come out there and work out every so often. So he walks in. It's just like, hey, what's up, coach? He getting his, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. He's getting his workout on. And then, like, of course, this whole workout is awkward. For me, I don't know if he felt it, but it was just like, because here I am on pins and needles. I'm like, bro, I'm about to get waived, cut, traded. I don't know what's about to happen. And I remember, like, yesterday, he came up to me. He was like, he took his headphones off. He was like, J-Mac, I just want to let you know, like, he obviously saw everything that was going on in the media, and he just was like, I want to put all that to rest. You're good. We're not moving you. You're safe. And I was just like, thanks, coach. Shoulders relaxed. I'm like, baby. Yeah. Which was like, he didn't have to do that, man.
Did not.
I've talked about this before. He was just an amazing players coach, amazing just human being. I love playing for Coach Kerr, but I'm more, cherish just the moments off the court, getting to know him and his family and just everything that he stood for, man. And that was just a small glimpse into the type of human he was, because, he knew. He played, and, I'm sure he was understanding the position that I was in, and that was big time. But it's tough, man. It can all, just like that. You can go from, being in the rotation playing to, on the outside looking in real quick. And, here I am, I don't even know how many years I am removed from the NBA, but it is what it is, man. I'm thankful for those memories. I'm thankful for those opportunities. And, yeah.
Well, you guys with Golden State, while obviously a situation like that, there were names that would come up in the media or different things. Yeah. You did still have a pretty set roster in terms of your core, obviously. And
which is why a guy like me was like, one of those, like, I knew. It was only going to be me or another guy. And I think it ended up being Jason Thompson, who we had on the roster at the time. They ended up either trading or waiving him.
The trade deadline was kind of, I don't want to say funny. It wasn't funny, but with the Lakers, because there were so many pieces where guys, the Lakers wanted immediate success. Understandably, there's so much history there. And, fans are clamoring. News is like, they got to make a change. This is a disaster. Kobe's last years, he can't be doing this. So you get a lot of I remember Gary Vitti when it was around trade deadline day. He was the head trainer for years with the Lakers, and many years, and a great guy and a great trainer. But he, I don't know if I thought it was funny at the time, but he liked the joke. Mitch Kupchak was the GM at the time, and like the day before trade deadline, around that week, he'd go up to players and just go like, "Hey," like quietly, "Hey, Mitch Kupchak wants to see you up in his office." And guys would be like, the eyes would widen up and like, and then you'd start, I mean, what do you do? This is Gary Vitti. You got to go listen to him. And he's like, I got you. But then you're still like, there's so many rumors. It could still happen.
Yeah.
That was a little cold-blooded. But he had been through quite a lot himself. He had seen a lot. So sometimes you got to laugh through the uncomfortableness that is January 10th and the trade deadline.
Yeah. Just got to enjoy it, man. It's wild.
Reframe the mindset.
It is wild, man.
How awesome is it we're playing in the NBA? And that's how you got to look at it. So, like I did get traded technically, but it was in the off season. But I cannot imagine getting traded and having to move my family.
So I moved teams when I played in Europe, and that was insane.
Yeah.
We went from Istanbul, Turkey to Belgrade, Serbia, and that was just chaos, bro. And it was tough. Clearly you're in a different country, but just off of like, hey guys, I'm Mac. I'm the new guy. That was the other weird thing, man.
Yeah.
So, but the NBA is, it happens so quick, so often, man. You'll get traded and you'll see the dude, playing the next day. Just watch. When the trade deadline rolls around, they don't waste any time.
Not at all.
They'll have your jersey waiting on you by the time you land.
And if you can hoop, you can hoop. It doesn't matter what the offense or the defense is.
No, sir.
Go play.
They plug you in there and they play. Yeah. So.
Little insight. Man. That's what we've experienced this time of year is an interesting one for basketball players around the world, but especially in the NBA. So,
it'll be interesting to see just what that looks like this year. Mm-hmm. Especially the trade deadline. Wouldn't it be crazy if they did trades in college, bro? Maybe that's next.
We might be.
Guys are getting paid now.
We might be having to do some trades at Duke.
Sheesh.
I love our players, but we needed to maybe add some stuff.
We were doing pretty good there. We were on a roll. We beat Ohio State. We came out and beat Michigan, and then we kind of laid an egg against Pittsburgh. I thought that was a game that we really, really, really should have won.
Happy.
For sure.
For the Capel brothers.
Happy for the Capel brothers.
Yeah, and they're playing better.
For 4 or 5. They've been there for a minute, man.
Yeah, man, have had their struggles.
Yeah.
So
for y'all that don't know, Jason and Jeff Capel are the head coaches there. Former Tar Heel, former Blue Devil.
Well, the Blue Devil's the head coach, right?
That doesn't matter, man.
There's not 2 head coaches on the.
Yeah, but they're coaching is what I said.
No,
man.
you did not.
I said former Blue Devil, former Tar Heel coach.
Are the head coaches? You just said that.
Oh no, that's my bad, man. I misspoke.
Yeah, okay, you tried to slip that
misspoke.
in.
Nah, man.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Happy for them, though. We're gonna lose. We'll take that L.
Okay.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
But they deserved it. Not saying we gave anything away. But big game for the Tar Heels. Going up to John Paul Jones. Terrible arena name.
Yeah.
John Paul Jones Arena.
But beautiful arena. Very
beautiful
nice.
arena.
Yeah.
Brand new.
For anybody.
Not brand new. It was brand new.
Yeah, it was brand new when we were. Yeah, exactly. We're recording this pre-UVA game and Louisville game.
Second week of
January. Yeah. So Duke has Pitt also.
Haven't won there since 2012. Your boy was there. Didn't really play, but I was there.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's not a great
Carolina
sign.
has not won. Yeah, I didn't win there my sophomore or junior year. That's a tough place. I mean, no excuse. That's a tough place to play, man.
And they're a tough team to beat.
Tony Bennett. My boy Justin Anderson, who played there for Tony Bennett, been in the NBA for a while now, was talking some trash, so we might have to get him on the pod. But he's right, man. He was like, UVA dang near been running the ACC for a few years now. I don't, want to get into that now.
No. Yeah.
There'll be a time for that. But You know, Tony Bennett's done a great job there, man.
He has.
He's done a phenomenal job there.
So do you think the ship is righted for Carolina right now? Where do you think Carolina's at?
I think this game doesn't really mean much for our team,
yeah, okay.
if I'm being honest.
Okay.
I mean, UVA is the number 2 team, I think, in the country right now.
Are they at the number 2 already?
Yeah, they're up there. You know, if we win, cool. Everybody's going to be like, we back, but I don't think we are back. I think the team has just been so up and down all year. I'm just hoping we can, you know, make it competitive, make it a good game.
I have to say, if I was making a statement on North Carolina,
please,
that rolls right into from last year, you guys are really riding the wave that is, or the ups and downs that is Caleb Love.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
right.
His shooting,
yeah,
you win games
yeah,
when he's shooting well.
Yeah.
He's just so erratic.
Yeah.
I mean, we were looking up his percentages before, and
they're really not, you know, night and day from last year.
No. Which is, you guys struggled
for sure
for the first half of the year. And
tried to tell people, you know, this was an 8 seed, you know, going into the tournament, March Madness last year.
Also tried to tell people you were going undefeated, but
I did. Which is why I'm like, man, we could, you know, you would think, right, sooner or later this year it'll click and we'll just start, you know, hitting on all cylinders.
Which is why at the beginning you were looking up odds.
Right. I'm trying to hit it when it's low.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hit it when it's low. So we'll see, man. But I would love nothing more than Caleb Love to go in there and for us to take care of business. Then we got Louisville that following weekend and just get this thing going.
Yeah.
I think we got it. We've shown that we can string together some wins. You know, we did it against Michigan. We did it against a pretty good Ohio State team. You know, these guys know, you know, if we're trying to hang a banner here, unlike the Duke Blue Devils, who are a younger team, may not, you know, Roach obviously is one of the older guys, but may not really know the magnitude of, you know, that loss against NC State.
Sure.
You know, we talked about the teams that you played on, you know, the team that I played on my freshman year that were, you know, number 1 in the ACC and number 1, number 2, number 3. You can only lose, but really, you know, three games.
Yeah, well,
if that.
Last week or the week before, we were talking. I was 13-3.
Yeah,
13-3, second place.
Yeah.
14-4, second place.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
you know, we're talking about really winning out the rest of the way here. You know, maybe they can drop one.
And yeah, you guys went to the finals as being an 8 seed, but like we've talked about before, the higher seed you are, you're in a better position.
Thank you.
To get farther. You don't want to be a low seed.
Nobody wants to be a low seed. You want to play close to home. You want to play easier competition.
Yep.
Plain and simple. So I'm hoping this is really our last shot. You know, I'm rocking with us the rest of the year, no matter what. You know, I'm not a fair weather fan, but if we want to really hang some banners here before we go into March Madness, regular season ACC is what we're aiming for.
Yep.
We've talked about this in previous pods. If you haven't, go check them out. ACC tournament is cool and all, but regular season ACC holds a lot more weight.
Yep.
It's go time. So
you guys get going, as does Duke.
Yeah, because I mean, we're getting ready to play here for the 4th.
Yeah,
you know, about 3. By the time this comes out, we'll be 3 weeks out from that first matchup.
Yeah, Duke. There's some issues, and
talented though, man.
There's talent, but I just don't see where the go-to scorer is. Like Filipowski right now is the leading scorer for Duke, and I think he's been better than most people have expected over the course of the whole season. He's averaging just shy of 14 points at this point where we're making this pod.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's a 7-footer. He's shooting 42% from the field and 27 from 3. Like, those aren't elite. Now, has he played? Again, he's rebounding the ball really well. He's doing good things, but that's not an elite scorer in the college level. Nope. Roach, I mean, very worrisome is the fact that he's nursing his toe injury. If that's something, is that going to be an issue the whole season? Is that something that I don't have the inside info? I wish I did, but I don't. But even before that, he has not been scoring the ball that well. He's shooting very poorly, like 36% from the field and not well from 3. So that's, he was somebody that you wanted to, or we wanted to be the guy, not necessarily averaging 20 points, but Mr. Consistent lead. And he, again, defensively has been really good. Sure. It's not like he hasn't controlled the offense, all those things. And that's it for double figure scorers. I mean, that's just not enough points. Yeah. And I think
and then you just throw, Whitehead is trying to get his feet underneath him.
Exactly. Yep.
And
he's very talented. Yeah. But
we saw this coming back when we knew he got hurt at the beginning of the year, we could have scripted this out. Yes. Not that the rest of the team would have been, but whenever you try to add a big time player like him, he's not coming in quiet.
Nope.
He's got and they can't. They can't. They're gonna need him. So you're gonna take those licks. And it seems that he is kind of getting his groove. However, it's maybe not so the best thing for everybody else.
Yes,
and y'all trash though, man.
Well, here our offense is. I mean, it's getting close. We're 159th in the nation in points per game, and shooting 44% from the field. That's 209th nationally. Yeah. I mean, Duke in the last few years, I think more of the issue. They've always been great scoring. The issue has been, have they been good defensively? Yeah. The defense has carried Duke this year for a lot of the time. The scores have been lower. But even we've had some cracks there with, Wake scoring points, NC State going crazy. And that NC State loss.
On the road, we have
struggled
like a typical team.
Yeah.
I mean, Boston College almost came back and got you.
Well, that was our first road win of the season, and that was a survival. I mean, that was truly a survival. So
against Boston College.
Yeah, it was not exactly
what's their mascot? Golden Eagles?
Golden Eagles, yeah. You knew it.
I did.
Also, while I still like the talent.
How are y'all even ranked, bro? That's what I be.
We have like 4 losses.
Still, y'all are trash though. Like y'all are the nastiest. Y'all are the nastiest 16 seed in the.
Oh my gosh! Don't overblow it.
We got 5 losses.
Yeah,
and I think we got better wins than y'all.
Whatever, man. Let me finish my.
Y'all got somebody on the committee, man. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that while I still like him a lot, and I think he's very talented, might have been a little aggressive to pick Derek Lively in the early pods. Go back and check it out, or don't.
You had him as Rookie of the Year.
I had him as Rookie of the Year, Freshman of the Year in the league. He has not been that, and there's more than one reason for that. He started off the season hurt. His offensive skill set isn't there yet, and it's shown. Like John doesn't have a full trust in him. You can tell. Still, I mean, even in few minutes, he's averaging close to 2 blocks a game. Like there's pieces there, but if that's your top recruit coming in and who you think is going to be, huge part of what you do, and now is kind of a bit rotational. I think off the bench.
This is why when you go after these big time recruits, right? And this is not a shot at y'all by any means, but he isn't. And we talked about this. He isn't a Zion. He isn't a Jabari.
Yep.
He isn't a Austin Rivers. Go down the list. He isn't an R.J. Barrett. Still. That I think that just shows you how different some of these classes can be.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to say like, what was the best NBA draft class? There's huge, wide varieties of just talent that comes in at certain times throughout these classes.
Yeah.
I think that just shows you, because even Whitehead, who was he top 5?
He was top 10.
Yeah, like even he is top 5, not been the best. Still uber talented, NBA stamp for sure.
Yeah,
but it just shows you it hasn't necessarily translated to, Paolo type success. Which that was a team that you knew was going to be really good. So,
I think probably a decent predictor too is it has to be somebody who's capable of having the ball in their hands.
Yes, for sure.
Lively is not necessarily a scorer, facilitator. So then it's like, well, you talk about Paolo at Duke.
Yeah.
What was the knock on Paolo? He was always a great scorer.
Yeah.
defensively, he didn't know where to be.
Yeah.
He was, and that's just being a kid and learning to play the game.
For sure.
So, but he was always going to score. Paolo was going to
that.
score and create fouls,
Create.
do a lot of great things offensively.
Yeah.
Whereas Lively's figuring out the game, how to play, and then he's also not an aggressive scorer. He's not somebody that, is going to patch the other issues up by scoring or affecting the offense.
Which may not be the worst thing for his future.
Yeah. Yep.
Some NBA teams might, like that better.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can mold this kid. We can turn him into whoever we want him to be.
Absolutely.
So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. So some issues for Duke.
I can see y'all out of the top 25 by the end of this month.
Pitt. Who did I say? We have Pitt next.
I think you said Clemson. You guys have
Clemson.
it easier.
Pitt,
I don't
Clemson.
think you have a single top, unless one of those teams has bumped
No,
up into
they haven't bumped to the top 25. But
Yeah.
those are both, I think.
ACC is no sleeper this year, bro.
Pitt has.
And that wasn't a shot at you, by also.
Yeah. Okay.
You
find a way to get a shot.
keep it love here, baby.
Yeah. I mean, Pitt is 11-5. Clemson's 13-3. They're not
Exactly.
bad teams, and Clemson's on the road, which is never.
Little John, baby.
So, and then we do have Miami after that the following week. So, and they're a
They
top
might
20
be.
team.
Okay, they are.
Yeah.
Should be fun, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna see. Come that first matchup, it should be good. I'm excited. I think we have y'all on the road. Yep, because we finished at y'all's place last year.
Yep.
So
That's beginning
coming to, which is good for y'all.
beginning of February.
Yeah, beginning of February, we coming to Cameron. So
ESPN has us, by the way, now at 24, so we're barely hanging on.
Okay, you're right. Today is Monday, so the new rankings came out.
Yeah, we're barely hanging on, and
so we're more or less riding the same shit, man.
yeah, you're probably the first 5 out of there. So we're kind of.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. The UVA win will either bump us up or it'll just keep pushing us on down.
Exactly.
And we'll be right back here, baby.
Yeah, we're in the meat of it now, like we talked about. ACC, there's no easy game.
Nope.
So
Nope.
January, February, let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go, baby. That's all we got for you today.
Y'all hit the mailbag, betterbluepodcast@gmail.com. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We're trying something a little different here. We're trying to just tune up, shorten up, cut the meat off some of these episodes.
We don't do.
Keep our time down a little bit. We're working on it.
We're working on it. We talk too much. But
hit us with any feedback, comments,
subscribe,
shade.
Yeah,
Please hit the subscribe button.
Love
please.
the shade. Yeah, Better Blue Podcast.
So we can hit y'all with some of these fun, cool ads, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking too much here. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Dev, our producer.
Appreciate you, Dev. Next week.
Yep.